Welcome back. President Trump urging Elon Musk to use Starlink to restore internet to the millions of Iranians after the Supreme Leader cut off internet access due to the ongoing anti-regime protests. They don't want the world to see what's going on. At least 646 people reportedly killed within the last 3 weeks as thousands of Iranians protest Iran's regime, weak economy, soaring inflation. The president announcing an immediate 25% tariff on any country that does business with Iran. I spoke with the exiled Crown Prince of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, who is trying to become the transitional leader there. He joined me on Sunday and discussed what a transition inside the country would look like. Watch.
This is a moment that is defining. Despite being completely cut off from the world, internet shutdown, and for a regime that is massacring its own people, this is an opportunity to liberate that nation. We hope only that the Iranian people this time will be victorious, and they will be, because I know that Iranians are prepared to die for this cause, and so am I. I'm here to lead and help our nation go through that transition. But beyond liberation, we have to have a plan. We have to ensure stability. We have to be able to protect the citizenry. We have to be able to stabilize the economy. Mr. President, you have already established your legacy as a man committed to peace and fighting evil forces. Let's hope that we can permanently seal this legacy by liberating Iran so that we and you can make Iran great again. Let's partner on this and have a better future for our countries and for our people.
Joining me now is Sofreh Capital CEO Shervin Pishevar. Shervin, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Maria.
You know, when I spoke with the Crown Prince on Sunday, I asked him how long a so-called transition would take. He says a couple of years. So he is proposing he is the leader and transitions Iran into freedom while he leads the country for at least 2 years. Now, you immigrated to America from Iran at a very young age. When you immigrated, I guess things were very different. What do you make of what's happening on the ground now in your home country?
Absolutely. This is a very historical time, and since I came on your show right after 10/7 to talk about the idea of a Cyrus Accords, of a future peace between Iran, Israel, and America joining the Abrahamic Accords, we are living in biblical times. And the history that goes back 2,500 years is Cyrus the Great freed the Jews and earned the spot in the Bible, and is celebrated by the Jews every year, celebrated by the Iranians, inspires the Crown Prince and all of us with his call for one humanity and the first declaration of human rights. Those are who we are, the Iranian soul, those people that you see in the streets, these young Iranians sacrificing themselves, reaching out, and they're not proposing the Crown Prince as their leader. They are declaring that he is their leader, that this is the end of the Islamic regime, and it's time now for incredible leaders like President Trump to meet with the Crown Prince, Netanyahu, who has done incredible work fighting the Islamic regime, fighting Hamas, fighting Hezbollah, all of the proxies of this evil regime. This is the time to act. The people are in the streets by the millions. They were just, as you've seen the videos, these horrific videos that are coming out, they're being mowed down by the military. The Supreme Leader, Khamenei, has ordered the military to mow down innocent, defenseless, courageous young Iranians who have had enough. They've lived in an open-air prison for 47 years. Their futures have been stolen. Me and my family were lucky to escape. My father was on the execution list by Khamenei. He was a journalist like yourself, and he put the foreign language broadcast to let people know how to get out of the country. He saved a lot of lives, but he had to escape. He was going to be killed by this evil regime. And they've been doing this for 47 years, not just terrorizing the Iranian people, terrorizing the Israelis, terrorizing the Middle East, funding terrorism, using their oil money that God blessed Iran with to do evil things rather than good things.
Yeah.
It's time to act, and I was just with the Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi. He is the declared leader of the people, and it's time to recognize him as the leader officially, form an interim government, do this transition process. It's time to act and cut off the head of the snake in Iran. And what will happen is, I'm telling you, I'm manifesting this. 50 million plus Iranians will come in the streets after that is done. We need help from the air, not just the Starlinks that I started to smuggle into Iran for the protesters, these freedom technologies, so that we can communicate. We can see these videos that are coming out. We can see what the real facts are on the street. It's time to act, and the vision I'm saying is there will be 50 million people in the streets celebrating with the new Iranian flag, with the Israeli flags, with American flags, saying thank you to America, thank you to Israel.
So you smuggled into Iran Starlink. Tell us what
back
you
in
just
2022. I was inspired by, I'm a tech investor, and I invest in technologies. I invested in Elon and SpaceX many years ago, when it was a much smaller company. And one of the things that I talked about all the way back to 2010 was that the last bastion of dictatorship is the router, that we need to use satellites to bring internet. The first thing dictators do is they shut down the router. I said this to the Secretary of State back then in a dinner with Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter, and with the CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt. And they loved the idea. I flew into Benghazi 2 weeks before Gaddafi was killed. Flew into Tahrir Square. The same thing has happened now. We've been in a blackout, internet blackout. Elon and SpaceX, the president just yesterday asked Elon for even more help. But I organized out of a rebel group and flew to SpaceX, bought the first Starlinks to come into Iran. At the time, there were only 9 Starlinks then.
That's incredible.
But these freedom technologies are needed. But now is the time to act. We're in a historic moment. If we don't act now and support the Iranian people, they came into the streets because they were told, we will have your backs.
The president.
This is a moral imperative.
I mean, the president did say that on many of his posts, that he supports the Iranian people. And what are you expecting him to do? Finish
the job. It's time to act. This is a criminal organization, a terrorist organization that has terrorized the world for 47 years. This is the modern Hitler. For some reason, he has been able to survive for 47 years, completely destroy the Middle East. Invade the West with their propaganda campaign, as you've seen across all the campuses.
For sure,
Europe has fallen. The UK has fallen. America could fall. It's time to stop this nonsense. We see the writing on the wall. The people are out in the streets. These are the brave hearts of our time. The courage of these young people to come out defenseless, shouting for peace, asking for Reza Pahlavi to return. And he's ready to return. He will get on a plane. I will get on a plane. I'll return. And we have a plan to reconstruct Iran. We can make it into a glorious gem of democracy and freedom. Change the Middle East and change history.
Don't even know what Iran was. I mean, I was looking at pictures of, pre-47 years ago, pre-49 years ago, and it's chic. Women are gorgeous, wearing beautiful clothing and with their hair the way they want to do it. I mean, it was free. It was like looking at New York. I mean, it was beautiful, and people need to see those pictures.
Again.
But I want to, before you go,
we'll
Shervin,
catch up for what we lost in less than 5 years. I promise you.
Unbelievable.
Iran, these people are so talented and brilliant. My brothers and sisters, they just need to be free.
Shervin, before you go, I want to get your take on investment themes for 2026. Obviously, AI was all about 25. What are your thoughts in terms of new innovations and growth stories from an investment standpoint for this year?
I am squarely focused on deep technologies. I have announced just recently that DPCM, which was my public entity that I co-founded with Emil Michael, had recruited to Uber, and he's now Under Secretary of War for R&D. So I'm launching DPCM 2. and we're going to go after quantum computing technologies. The first one we did was a quantum computing company called D-Wave. It's up 5,800% in the last 24 months. It's one of the most successful SPACs in history. So now we're going to do the second one. Cantor Fitzgerald is going to take us public.
Okay.
And I'm all about one thing I want to tell you is humanoid robotics are going to change the entire world. And I was just with Brett Adcock, the founder of Figure AI.
Yeah, he's been on the show. Yeah.
I have to get you to come to the headquarters and see these robots.
Okay.
He is going to change the world, and humanoid robots will be the iPhone of AGI.
Wow. Well, we had him on the show recently, actually, to talk all about that. Shervin, it's good to see you this morning. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Shervin Pishevar. We'll be right back.